Hey everybody, it's Miss Crumbly. Today we're going to talk a little bit about dot plots using the same data that we have from the Yankees home run hitter that you worked on Tuesday, I believe. Um, so I have a hard copy, but you have this on Google Classroom, and it's what you use to gather all your data. And we went over the answers for this, but this is the sheet that's going to be very beneficial for you today as we talk about dot plots. Okay, and I'm going to do Babe Ruth for you, and then you'll pick which one you want to do. Now, what is a dot plot? It's also called a line plot, so you'll hear it used both ways. You'll hear us say dot plot, you'll hear us say line plot, but they just mean the same thing. So a dot plot or a line plot is just a way to display data over a number line. And I want to show you a couple. Let me get that screen going. Okay. So this one. The statistical question was, let's see if it says it right here. The students in Miss Smith's class were surveyed as to the number of brother and sisters in their families, not counting themselves. The results are displayed in the table below. So they displayed the results here. And then here is the dot plot or the line plot that goes along with it. Okay. Basically, each one of these dots represents an answer. Okay. So we can look at this and say, well, there are two people that said, I have no siblings. Okay, so this represents a person that has no siblings. This one represents a person that has no siblings. And if you look over here, Emma and Stanley both have no siblings. Okay, and then there should be three people that say they have one sibling, 1, 2, 3. 5 people that say 2, and you can go back and just cross check. Now, the reason I pulled this one is because of the shape of the data. If you look at this, we can clearly tell that the mode is 2. Okay, most people, the most common answer is 2 siblings or 2 brothers and sisters. Okay, so the mode is very easy to see. And this data, if you look right next to the mode, there's 3 for 1, 3 people that said 3. Okay, and then you go one more to the left, 0 has 2 answers, 4 has 2 as well. This is what we call evenly distributed data. And we're going to talk more about that in the coming days. But I wanted to show you that one first because it is very atypical, I guess. We don't usually see data this evenly distributed. And if you'll look down here, it talks about the center, the spread, the shape. And you can pause it and read about those if you want to, but we'll get more in depth that later. Here's another dot plot, and it's kind of small. So let me zoom in on that for y'all. Whoops, maybe too much. Okay. The statistical question was this, but it says the dot plot represents the fuel economy in miles per gallon for a sample of 2015 model cars. So our population would be model cars. The variability is there because of you can have multiple answers. All right, now if you look at this data, it's not so nice and neat and spread out evenly like the last one. Okay, I can still tell where the mode is because it's the tallest line of dots. It falls in between 30 and 32, which we know is 31. Okay, it's got a larger spread. Okay, I can find the range using this. 40 minus 16 would tell me the range of the fuel economy. But the data is a little bit more scattered. So this is more like what we usually see when we're doing dot plots. There's not always a pattern, and the data is not always nice and neatly distributed. Now, I want you to think for just a minute. I've pointed out that we can find the range of the data using a dot plot, and that we can find the mode of the data using a dot plot. So stop and think for just a minute. Can we find the median or the mean using a dot plot? I'm going to let y'all stop the video for a minute, think about it, and then press play again when you're ready. Okay, so I hope you thought about it. Like I said, we're going to talk more about that in the coming days. But right now I want to look at how we're going to create a dot plot ourselves. I'll be honest with you, it is easier to do probably with paper and pencil. But I'm going to show you how to do it on the Google Doc that has been shared with you on today's assignment in Google Classroom. You will need this. So you can pull it up. It's probably still in your Google Drive. If you can't find it, let me know, or let Ms. Coggins know, and we'll figure out how to find that for you. But I'm going to go ahead and go to my document that I have on the dot plot. Okay, everybody should have a copy of it, and I think it says your name if you look. Mine says Yankees home run hitter, dot plot, Miss Crumbly. And then the directions just say you'll need to open the Google Doc you worked on Tuesday and Wednesday. Look at the part where you listed the number of home runs in order from least to greatest. And that is, once again, this right here. Okay. It's easier if you're looking at that. And we'll use that to create your dot plot. One thing I wanted to look at is if you're looking at this dot plot, it's over a number line. Notice that there's at least the intervals are consistent, I guess so we should say. It's increasing by 1 here. On this one, they're increasing by 2, which is fine. We just want to make sure our intervals are consistent. So if we start at 16 and go to 18, then we have to go to 20, the next one, 22, so forth. And so. All right, sorry about that. Interruption. Maybe it won't happen again. But we want to make sure that our intervals are consistent. Now, looking back at, let me go back to my thing. Looking back at this paper, okay, this is where you're going to see, okay, what do my intervals need to be, okay? And for Babe Ruth, my lowest number is 22, my highest number is 60. So we need to figure out what interval we want to use, All right, so I don't think we need to count by 2s because that's still a lot of numbers that we would have to put on our number line. So I'm going to say we're going to do intervals of 5, all right? Now, there is this number line right here for you, but I have found a better way to do it. So I'm going to delete that one. If you just click on it and then mash the backspace or delete button, it will go away. So my dot plot is for Babe Ruth. So I'm going to type that here. Okay, my dot plot is for Babe Ruth. And then I'm going to come down here and click, make sure my cursor is down here, and I'm going to click Insert Drawing. Okay, and then a new drawing. This is the best way I have seen to do this. So I'm going to find a line, and I want one that has an arrow. Ideally, I would like for it to have an arrow on both sides, but I don't think it does. Okay, so I'm going to draw me a line out here, and I've got my arrow. So y'all can do that. Next, I'm going to create a text box just down here, and I'm going to type in 20. Oops, my number lock's on. All right, might have to make it a little bigger. Okay, and then I'm going to drag it. Go there. I'm going to drag it right here. Okay, 20. And then I'm just going to copy and paste that text box. Copy. Sorry for all the clicking. All right, so I made another one. I'm going to drag it here, and I'm going to make it say 25. All right. I've already, oops, I want to drag it because it's nice and uniform. Maybe. Okay. You can always alter it a little bit later. I'm going to hit Control V and paste another text box. Drag it where I want it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We do want to make sure that they're somewhat close to one another, or the intervals are somewhat spaced apart evenly. All right, and I'm going to keep doing that until I get all the way to 60. All right, so now you can see that I have all my numbers in place, my text box. They're still not perfect, and that might drive me a little crazy, but close enough. Okay, so there's my number line. And remember, each one of these numbers is representing home runs hit in a year. Okay, so for Babe Ruth, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at this. Okay, Babe Ruth, and this is going to help me. He played 15 years, so on my dot plot, I'm going to need 15 dots because I have 15 numbers in my data set for him. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to go back to my drawing. I'm going to hit a shape and a circle. And I'm just going to draw a little circle. Okay. Now I'm going to fill mine. If you look up here for the paint can, I'm going to fill it black. Just because if you're doing it on a piece of paper, it's black. Okay. Now, I know I'm going to need 15 of those. So I'm going to copy. You can hit Control C or right click. I think on Chromebooks it's 2-finger click though. Click copy, and then you can click paste. Okay. Now I'm going to do that. I'm going to just hit Control V until I get 15. I've got my 15 dots, and I'm going to just drag them all up to the very top just to get them out of the way. But I wanted to make sure I had 15 to begin with. All right, I put them all at the top, but I've got my 15. I've counted like 3 times, but I'll probably count again before we get done. So going back to this piece right here, okay, and I always start with my lowest data set and number in my data, and that is 22. So that means that I need to put a dot over the number 22 on my number line. So I'm going to come get a dot. Now, I don't have 22 exactly, but I know that 22 is a little bit less than halfway between 20 and 25. Okay, so that dot right there is going to represent that 22. Okay, my next number is 25. So I'm going to drag this dot right above the 25. And I'm loving these little red lines that help me make sure things are staying in line with each other. Okay, so there's my 25 dot. Then I go to 34, which is almost 35. There we go. And then I have exactly 35. Ooh, I'm going to have to move that 34 a little bit over to the left some. No, I think that looks okay. All right, and then I got 41. There we go. And another 41. So this 41 is going to go directly on top of this other one. Okay, so that means 2 years he hit 41 home runs. That 41 home runs happened 2 different times. Okay, now 46, which is a little past 45. Okay, yep, that looks good. Another 46, so it's going to go directly above it. My line is looking nice. Okay, and then another 46, so it's going to go right here again. Okay, 47, just past that one. 49. Ooh, see, this is where my 50 probably needs to be moved over a little bit, so I'm going to drag it over just a smidge. Okay, so that actually looks like 49. Okay, then 54 right here, another 54, 59, and then 60. Okay, now I'm going to drag my 60 just a little bit to the right. There we go. Okay, so let's work. Okay, now, so I had one dot for each data set, or each number in my data set. I'm going to go back and I'm going to recount 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right. Now, the easiest thing for me to see with the dot plot is the mode. The mode of this data is 46 because that's the tallest one. Okay, now I'm going to click Save and Close. And it took it just a few seconds before it popped up. Okay, and there's my dot plot inserted right into my data. Okay, so now it's your turn. Let's talk about what do we notice about the shape of the dot plot. It is not very evenly distributed, is it? No. So I'm going to say it has, the shape of the dot plot. It is spread apart. All right, because it is. It's not very nice and clustered, evenly distributed like this one. Okay, it's more like the miles per hour. So, it's not. It is spread apart, not evenly. Are there any outliers? Okay, what do y'all think? Are there any outliers? Is there anything that sticks out that doesn't look like it belongs with the rest of the data? That it's not close to anything? And I mean, we could argue, I would argue that 22 and 25 are probably outliers. So I'm going to say yes. 22 and 25. Now, if you do Lou Gehrig, you're going to see a lot of you're going to see some outliers. We talked about that in our video where Miss Wyckoff was the umpire and came in and had to set Miss Coggins and I straight a little bit. And there's some reasons behind his outliers, and we'll talk about that one day. But sometimes if there's outliers in the data, we need to dive in a little bit further and see, okay, what exactly was going on, okay? You know, in these 2 years, was Babe Ruth, was he sick during that time? Was something going on in baseball? Was there a strike? You know, things like that. We might want to go back and look at that. All right, so those are the outliers. Which of these would be easy to find using the dot plot, the mean, median, mode, or range? And you could choose more than one. I'm going to let y'all answer that one because it will probably be the exact same on yours. So what you're going to do now is you are going to pick either Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, or Roger Maris. And you're going to create a dot plot for them. All right, using the same thing. The great thing about this video is you can go back and rewatch it. You can pause certain parts. You can go back and rewatch how to create the dot plot, things like that. If you run into any problems whatsoever or have any questions, just let me, Miss Wyckoff, or Miss Coggins know, and we'll be glad to help you. All right, see y'all next time.